On April 6, 2017, a cool spring morning in the depths of Washington's Olympic National Park. The towering pines are shrouded in mist. It creates an almost otherworldly atmosphere. Now it's here that 22-year-old Jacob Gray begins his solo journey. He's pedaling down Salt Duck Hot Springs Road. His bike is loaded with his gear. The creek's under the weight, but Jacob is undeterred. He's an outdoorsman, and this is where he feels mostly alive. Jacob wasn't just some weekend camper. He grew up in Santa Cruz, California, mastering the waves as a surfer and navigating the rugged Pacific wilderness with ease. He was no stranger to the elements. His bike is a custom rig with milk crates bolted to the back. It wasn't pretty, but it was built to handle the wild terrain. And yet, as prepared as he was, Jacob didn't expect what was about to happen. On April 6, about 6.5 miles into Salt Duck Hot Springs Road, a peculiar scene unfolded. A lone cyclist's gear, Jacob's gear, was scattered beside his bike, almost as someone had hurriedly just walked away. A bow was laying on the ground. Arrows, for reasons no one could explain, were sticking out of the earth like warning signs. But there was no Jacob, no tracks, no indication of where he could have gone. The bike sat eerily by the road, a flash of red and yellow against the lush green of the forest, as though someone had left in a hurry, or worse, as if they had never intended to return. So a passing park ranger spotted it but didn't think much of it. Tourists often leave their bikes for short hikes, but as hours turned to days, no one came back to the bike. Something wasn't just right here. Jacob's family is miles away in Santa Cruz, California, and they had no idea what was going on. His mother, Laura, had spoken to him just days earlier. Jacob was excited about his cross-country tour, talking about the possibility of working along the way, maybe even taking 2 years to complete the trip. It was all part of his plan, but plans can go wrong, horribly wrong. And by the time rangers began to investigate the abandoned bike, Jacob had been missing for days. Ranger John Bowie, who first searched the scene, noticed something strange. Arrows were stuck in the ground in a precise line near a poly trap. It looked deliberate. But why? What was Jacob trying to signal? Or perhaps more chillingly, who had left them there? The more they searched, the less sense it made. Jacob's belongings were left behind in perfect condition. His gear was intact. The only thing missing was Jacob himself. There were no signs of struggle, no tracks leading away. It was as if he had simply vanished into thin air. The days passed when Jacob's father, Randy, heard about the news of his son. He drops everything. With his daughter Mallory riding shotgun, they made a 1,000-mile drive from Santa Cruz all the way to Washington in one frantic, sleepless stretch. Randy was a man on a mission. He wasn't going to let his son become another unsolved mystery and end up on Netflix. But what they found when they arrived left them shocked. The Rangers hadn't even launched a full search yet. 5 days had passed and not a single search team had been deployed. No dogs, no helicopters, no scavenging in the area, nothing. Randy wasn't waiting. He plunged into the icy waters himself, scouring the riverbanks, peering behind waterfalls, and wading through chest-deep currents. And trust me, I've been there and that water is cold. He knew the area was dangerous. Rivers in Olympic National Park were known for their deadly ice-cold currents, but he wasn't giving up yet, not just yet. And then a discovery that had changed everything. A list of phone numbers, Jacob's wallet, his ID, everything's found near his bike, as though someone had purposely left him there to be found. Rangers now had a name, but still no sign of the young man. The search intensified, and with it, whispers of what could have happened to Jacob. Had Jacob wandered too far into the wilderness and gotten lost? The area is vast, unforgiving, or could it have been something more sinister? To everyone's horror, the park had experienced missing persons before, but Jacob's case seemed differently. The bike, the neatly organized gear, the arrows, none of it just added up. And as the days wore on, the park reduced their efforts to limited, continuous search. It sounded official, but really it meant they have given up. And Jacob's family refused to believe it. Now we fast forward to August 10th, 2018, over a year 1 year later. A group of biologists on a routine expedition to study marmots stumbled upon something high in the Daniel J. Evans Wilderness. Scattered remains, gear, at over 5,300 feet above sea level, miles from any trail, 15 miles from where Jacob's bike had been found. The location was remote, treacherous, covered in snow during the time of his disappearance. How did Jacob get here, and why? It's just the mystery deepens more. His remains were found far from any logical route he should have taken. The gear around him remained unused. His lighter was untouched. The possibilities begin to turn darker. Had Jacob wandered up into the mountains in a state of confusion, or had something or someone led him there? So the investigators couldn't determine a cause of death. The body was too decomposed. There were no signs of foul play, but also no clear indication of how he survived or died on that mountain. It was as though the wilderness itself had swallowed him whole, leaving nothing but questions behind. Was Jacob trying to escape something or someone? Had he experienced a mental breakdown in the wilderness, leading him to trek aimlessly into the snow-covered mountains? Or was it something more chilling, a predator in the wild, human or otherwise, that had led him to his fate? So Jacob's great case remains unsolved. Was it just another tragic accident? Or was it something far more sinister lurking in the shadows of Olympic Mountain National Park? We may never know what really happened during those fateful days in April of 2017. But one thing's for sure, sometimes the wilderness just keeps its secrets. Thanks for joining me today. If this story gave you chills, go ahead and subscribe. Who knows what we'll uncover next? Stay curious, stay safe, stay mysterious. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.